Hello, my Libras. This is your home light security reading for the month of May. And you got a lot going on, and you're about to have a lot going on as well. And it's long story short, I'm just gonna be blunt with where I'm getting it. They're saying fully trust in your gut feelings, in your capabilities of reading people, of whether they're trustworthiness, of whether they're really supportive, whether they're really truthful, and and trust in that. Because, all right, look, for the last couple years and the next year or two, you guys have been going through cataclysmic levels of relationships. And that's because of the way the astrology set. You've got to understand right now, you have make and how Maya. And this is me getting into the Kuiper Belt and the things that everybody never talks about. You guys have these two still here. And make would be considered the lotus flower. Jupiter has just entered Aries. It's going to be coming up on this energy really abundantly, taking another look at these relationships that you got going on, as well as reminding you about what you have had going on in your past relationships. Not to mention Chiron is here, so is Eris in Aries. So I'm gonna, when I get into the astrology, I'm gonna get much deeper. But this is really teaching you to stand firm on your own feet and love thyself, and to find security in yourself, not in the relationships. It's not, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't find security in the relationship, but you have to find true, capable security, assertiveness within yourself, and then it's going to be finding it within the relationships themselves. And it's definitely going to be showing you more and more of this. When I get into the astrology, I'll read more about it, but I'll be telling you the astrology. But the reason why I'm saying it is Spirit was telling me, I'm sorry, I got an edge. Spirit was telling me as I was beginning this, they're saying trust yourself, but you're learning to become the sustainer. You're learning to become the sustainer of what molds it together, what holds it together. But are you holding together what's meant to be held together? Are you becoming the sacrifice, or is it a sacrifice? Because when it's really a sacrifice, it's not something that's hard to give up, because it's something that should have been done anyway. But are you trying to make something that's not meant to be, or not? And we'll get into this here in a minute. Let me see what the astrology has to say. I mean, what the cards have to say for you. What does Libra need to hear for the month of May? Libra, for the month of May. To help them move forward in the most positive of ways. Okay, you moved on me too fast. Sorry. Or maybe you're just telling me I'm going to get it confused. So I got to shuffle funky. Hold up. What does Libra need to hear? No. Well, I have like the sun shining down on me now. I mean, you're definitely being illuminated in one way or another. I can't make this shit up. I said the sun feels like it's shining down on me. And the card I pull is the desert. It is the sacred element of your own personal fire. It's, you know, it's the violet flame. It's the energy that can never be taken away. I was talking to someone earlier today on a completely different level, but it feels like it fits, so I'm going to say it. Because we were talking about, doing spiritual work, psychic work, and helping others, and having to keep ourselves protected. And this is on the other realm, on the other realms, the other consciousnesses, astral plane, and so forth. And this person was talking about, giving themselves a second self so that they could be protected. And I was like, have you ever thought of just connecting into energy itself? Every single thing around you is energy. So why do you have to have a body? It's our mind that makes us believe, and the three-dimensional is real. Yes, because you can feel it. You can see it. You can touch it. It's tangible. But what I'm trying to get at is the sacred part of you. It's not the physical reality. It's not the soul. I mean, it's not the physical world. It's your soul is not the physical energy. It's pure energy. And pure energy is transformational. It is always shifting and transmutating and changing. So don't place your sacred energy in one concept, one idea, one person, one relationship. I'm not saying that you should necessarily have, many different kinds of relationships, especially, how you want to view things. That's not up to me. But what I'm saying is, don't put the idea of your sacred anything into just one vessel. You're so much more than a vessel. You're so much more than this physical. You're everlasting. And when you start tapping into your true soul needs, your true soul desires, your true soul loves, and the connection of what really connects, gets that, and understands, then these are the right relationships. These are the right people. And this is saying, in the fire, your sacred fire, finding it in the desert. Sometimes there's no water here, but yet it still blooms. It kind of looks like a mushroom cloud, which reminds me of the tree of life. Because for me, I mean, a mushroom cloud would be something different, but it reminds me of a mushroom. And for me, the tree of life is going into the wastelands and understanding all parts of you. Even what you think is sick and distraught and couldn't be forgiven. This is going into the parts that are your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, your skeletons in the closet, and finding out what parts of your sacredness you're denying yourself. Now, sorry, the next thing that came up, and it's funny because I didn't even look at it, I just sat it down, was cosmic influence. This is your higher self having all the answers. If you'll take the time to listen to it instead of needing the security in the physical dimension from somebody else, needing, the approval, the pat on the back. This is finding it within yourself. Again, Spirit just says, follow your soulful intuition. Trust in it and walk your talk. Ooh, they said walk your talk. Because you're learning how to become the high priestess. And for me, when I deal with tarot cards and whatnot, the high priestess is even above the magician. For me, I don't see things the same way as many, because the magician is still learning. The fool is the one that is crazy, just don't care, but he doesn't always do the right things. But he's willing to take the chance. The high priestess for me is the one who's already pretty much learned the lessons and is able to do anything. Sorry, I put it away. Oh, I mixed it back in. But she's able to pretty much do and create and bring forth anything. That's why she's the high priestess. She's the priestess of magic of all elements. Is there anything else? She's the priestess of all elements, is what I just said. They said the Nile is the next thing that's coming out. It's the sacred element of the water. So this is allowing the ebb and the flow of the learning, the lesson, the healing, the feeling to teach you what needs to happen. Which deck is it? You're confusing me. Thank you. Let me check this deck for you real fast, and then we'll get into the astrology. What does Libra need to hear for the month of May? What does Libra need to hear for the month of May? Thank you. Venus is love. But for me, I never see Venus as love because I see the way most readers to me seem to call Venus is like, you know, like the relationship love, like when you first get together and you're like, ooh, stupid, you know, with all of your love and, you know, make you sick because they're so foo-foo and perfect. For me, this is coming in, like I said, sacrifice and commitment of self-love, of acceptance, of loving yourself, understanding it, finding grace, finding beauty, finding fire, standing in the cosmos. You're connected with everything that ever is, ever was, will be. And Venus is also a creative energy, talking about your intuition, your magic, your spirit, your creativity. So this is coming into your inner child. This is allowing so much of you that to really come forth and speak if you're willing to listen and grow and then see where that leads you. And if it's still with the same people, great. If not, then it's going to get you to the right people. Then you have Neptune, sacrifice. This is, for me, Neptune is our magic. It's our ability to create our magic by understanding our manifestation, our our spirit, our connection, our truth. Because so often our manifestation is also created by our unconscious energy, which usually is a lower vibration that we're unaware of. So this is telling you it's time to come full circle. There's a reason why Libras are harmony, justice, and balance. You can't do justice if all you do is harmony. You can't do justice if all you do is balance for false harmony. 7th house, owning it, owning the truth and being responsible for it. Oh, sorry. 2nd house, which is still the same thing in a form, standing in your power, your self-worth, your self-place, self-worth, self-ability, self-sacrifice. What am I saying? That's 12th house. It's your self-worth, self-security, self-esteem. Wow. Maybe it was saying what you needed to get away from. Owning your self-worth, self-power, self-esteem. Owning your vibration. Owning your manifestation. Be using that Neptune energy to make it so. But you have to own it. You have to know it. You have to not be unconscious or in denial of what you truly want and who you are. And are the two of them connecting? All right. When we get into when we get into the month for the astrology, we're already in Mercury retrograde, which means our communication is a little bit of the negative. We'll get really into deep with it when I get into the actual chart, but I just give you a rundown of what's going on. Jupiter has already moved into Aries. You have the lunar eclipse that's going to take place on the 16th in Scorpio. On the 20th, the sun moves into Gemini. On the 22nd, Mercury retrogrades back into Taurus. So the sun and Mercury are going to do this, which is going to bring up a whole lot of energy. On the 24th is when things really start to feel like they're moving forward, because Mars goes home to Aries, to its ruling sign, and Venus goes into Taurus to its ruling sign on the 28th. Excuse me. Now, when I look at your chart, you have mainly a lot of very private, personal relationship energies going on. They're in your private, personal world and in your private, personal head, but they're also moving themselves out into the outer world. So it's going from introverted to extroverted energies. It's going towards what is your top priority, and are they matching? And that's pretty much where you're seeing where either you're all in good spirits and we're good to go, or hold up, we got to correct some stuff. Plain and simple. Now, your second house, which is Scorpio, because you don't have anything, you don't have any of the normal signs in your first house. Your first house is your character. It's your identity, your character, your identity. It is how you view yourself and the world around you. It is your awareness, your personal self-awareness. And like I said, you have Make and Haumea here. Make is the lotus flower. And we see the lotus flower as spiritual growth. And one of the reasons we see it as such a symbol of spiritual growth is because the lotus flower is a beautiful flower with many petals of lessons and learning. But they grow in the swamp. It comes from a muddy, murky, nasty, funky place, which is a lot of times what we have going on inside of us. But then as we start to clean it up, we start to break through, we start to see the above and the below, the negative, the positive, the healthy, the unhealthy. And then we start actually starting to bring the healing into our life. So where are you on the lotus flower? Are you still in the swamp? Are you breaking through? Or are you starting to truly find out who you are and discover the beautiful being that is you? And what does this mean about your character, your personal awareness, your personal identification, as well as how you view the world? Now, as you move into the second house, which is your house of self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, this would be very easy for you to cut cords, let go, and move on. It's Scorpio. But it also is incredibly emotional. Scorpio is like a fire sign, but it's actually a water sign. And it is all about life, death, rebirth. It's a very sexual energy, but very much Sherlock Holmes. And if you're looking for something hard enough, you'll find it. Well, this is really getting into your submissive energy or your independent energy of your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. Of possessing the power of you, possessing the spirit of you, possessing the energy of you, your soul spark. By knowing who you are and what you're worth. And when you are able to do this, your vibrational frequency, your law of attraction, your abundance, and your money tend to get better. And when you're feeling manipulated, naive, taken advantage of, because you're not in that power, you actually become the possession of somebody else. And the transformation of healthy healing soulfully isn't taking place. Like I said, you guys being Libras are all about harmony, balance, and justice. You don't want to see anything wrong happen to anybody. But you also have to be willing to make the stand. You also have to be willing to know what side of the fence you want to be on so that you can figure out where you want to bloom, how you want to bloom. This is how judgment is. You can't create balance for everybody except for yourself, because then you are in turn out of balance. The eclipse and the full moon energy is coming in, showing you where you're not in your power, where you're being submissive, where you're giving away all of that energy instead of, you know, finding the sacredness in yourself, loving yourself, giving yourself that power, and making sure that in these relationships, you're still secure with who you are. You don't lose yourself in the relationship. I say all the time when I'm dealing with people, it's not like it's the Joneses who showed up. Well, both Jones have a first name. They're not just the Joneses. Don't lose yourself in the relationship is what I'm trying to get at. Make sure that you're finding your own security, your own adaptability, your own things you enjoy, and that you're capable of being able to step away in your own power and still enjoy those things, still be the individual magical creature that you are, and create from there, because it's very much highly important. When I get back, I'm going to explain this a little bit deeper, but I want to go full of what I say get back, because I want to go around the whole thing here so I can explain it. When I get to the houses you'll understand what I'm saying. We're going to go over to your fourth house. Has had Pluto in it for like 10 years, but it's its last 2 years. This is the hardest time Pluto is going to give you in your fourth house, which is your inner emotional security. It's the roots of who and what you are. It's what you will return to. It's the spirit, the soul that can't be taken away. So it's getting you really back on nurturing what nurtures that soul, that spirit, that feel good about you, and know that you are secure from within. And Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. He's on his last 2 years. He's at the point of going, if you haven't learned the lesson now, I'm going to start throwing you under the fucking bus, so that you have to learn the lesson, because he's out of time. He won't be back in this lifetime, most likely. Or at least not until you're really old. And I still think not in this lifetime. Takes him a long ass time to go through a sign. Okay? So this is his only chance, this last year and a half, to give you this lesson. Because I believe he moves out into Saturn for a little bit. And then he's going to retrograde back into Capricorn, but then he'll go into Saturn again. So he's really at that point of going, I'm not playing with you anymore. This is what you have to do to love yourself. This is what you have to do for your own inner emotional security. This is what you have to do of where you're giving it away, where you're not nurturing yourself, and where I'm not going to allow this to continue, because after that, he can't teach you the lesson. And then the opportunity to learn it is gone. And it just is what it is. At least through the energy of him. Now, as it goes into your fifth house, this is where Saturn is. Saturn is rules, laws, and boundaries. It's telling you, in order for you to find the security in who and what you are, you have to be able to be who and what you are. You have to enjoy things. I say all the time, like friends who are magicians. Well, you couldn't be a magician if you didn't have the time to practice. An artist isn't going to become a good artist if they never paint or write their poetry or write their music or whatever. They have to take time, with their skills, learning it, enjoying it, being it, They have to come into that. This is what makes you tick, what makes you enjoy life, what makes you want to be here. I mean, if what you like to do is write stories, this is your place. Are you getting the time to do these things you enjoy? This is also the house where most people meet their peers and their relationships. Because the fifth house has to do with your fun zone. It's your pursuit of pleasure. It's also where, you get attracted to your mate, because you got to want some of the same things. You've got to be interested in doing the same things, you know, or you're going to have nothing in common. So this is saying allowing your inner child to have fun and play and experience. Imagine, breathe life into something. And if you don't have time to breathe life into the things that make you happy, how are you going to ever find out what makes you secure? How are you ever going to strengthen that security? This is making sure that your peers, your groups, your memberships, your friends, your family are allowing you to be you, allowing you to explore you, and to be part of that fun, to be part of it, or at least know, hey, that ain't my thing, so you go have fun. I'll see you later. You're allowed to do what you want to do alone, but will you? Will you take the chance to do these things, to step out of the comfort zone? Because you're also going to find you'll find more peers like-minded in the same categories. Like I said, this is where many people meet their partners, because you have to want the same things. Do you have time to? Are the rules, walls, and boundaries that allow you to make the time for it there? Your sixth house is Pisces. Now, your sixth house has probably been loaded and confusing for the last month and a half, and finally starting to slow down. Because your sixth house is your daily routines, your daily mundane tasks. And for many people, I say this all the time, your daily routines, your daily mundane tasks. What's mundane is never really mundane. The reason it's mundane is because you do it so repetitively that you ignore it, you overlook it, you don't realize it's manifesting most of your energy, because it's what you do repetitively over and over and over and over again. Like get up from bed, go to the bathroom, take a shower, get ready, go to work, have breakfast, da-da. These are your repetitive energies. But these have people, places, and things that are part of these repetitive energies. Your diet. But your diet isn't just food. I mean, it's not the only thing that sustains you. The people, places, and things sustain you with a different kind of energy. And are these energies that you're eating from these people, places, and things, are they healthy? Are these daily routines and rituals that you are doing healthy? Is it supporting you being able to be you, to find and enjoy you, to take part in your joy of pleasure of life, your creativity, your inner child, your inner fun, creating happiness for you? If these people, places, and things are in the way of that, either you need to balance that or you need to get rid of it, because then it's manipulating you to do what they want. Good way of putting it. A lot of times, your bosses want to take all this extra time off and do this and this and this. So then all of a sudden they want to change your schedule around. They want to do these weird things. Did you sign up for that? That's manipulation. That's them going, well, I'm going to do these things, so I'm going to put you on. Maybe you want the money. Maybe you want those hours. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, are you being manipulated into the people, places, and things, the energies, the routines, the events that serve you or don't? Because if it isn't supporting the soul, then ultimately it's supporting someone else's soul. And at least make sure you're balancing how off the chain, or is it balanced? because that's Saturn with its rules, walls, and its boundaries. Now, here's the thing also. That sixth house for you, wait, that sixth house has been losing its mind, not just with those rules, walls, and boundaries that Saturn is actually puts on that energy anyway, because Saturn's not there. But what you've had Jupiter come through here for the past year, you've had Mercury run through here, you've had Venus run through here, now you got Mars in here. Plus you've got Neptune. It's a very dreamy energy. It can be anything you want. It can be good, it can be bad. Neptune does not care. It's illusion, it's delusion. It creates whatever the energy is you give it. But it's had Mercury run through it. It's had Jupiter run through it. You've probably been like a freaking soccer mom, like off the chain. I got to go pick up Tommy and I got to do this. We got to go get our outfits cleaned. We have to do this. Do you have time? Is what I'm trying to get at. It's probably slowing down because Mars, the warrior, is in this energy right now. Mars in this energy of Pisces is not powerful. He's like a dead in the water. Okay, I'll go do what you want. Okay, I'll do what you want. Okay, I'll go get what you want. Are you being manipulated into pushing and go, push and go, and push and go, and push and go? Are you getting to be? That's what I was trying to get at. Are you overly soccer mommed out? Well, the good thing is, come the end of the month, of the 24th, Mars will move out of this energy and he will move into the relationship zone, which will start to build a fire in those relationships. But it's also going to start bringing in truth in these relationships. Because when you leave the sixth house, you go into the seventh, which enters the relationship zone. Now, you have Chiron here, which is the wounded healer. You have Eris here, which is Medusa, trouble, toil, and strife, and injustice. Then you have... Hold on, let me pull it back up. Stop fighting me, phone. You have Jupiter that just moved in. You have Venus that's in here. You have Chiron in here. You have Eris in here. Trouble, toil, strife, injustice. Chiron, the wounded healer, in the relationships, looking around like, is this really the relationships I want? Am I getting what I want from these relationships? Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. It's just the evaluation that I'm throwing out there. Medusa, which is Eris, trouble, toil, strife, injustice. She holding on to somebody from the past. She holding on to an idea from the past. Is it vampire syndrome? Are you still sunking your teeth into something, an idea that you would desire, but you're not really getting it? You're not really doing anything with it. It's just something you're holding on to and you're not getting. Because trouble, toil, strife, injustice. Is it stuck in this injustice? Do you believe that that's all that it can be? You have Jupiter now coming in, abundance, manifestation, higher knowledge. In the first house of taking a chance, somebody may be showing up, but is it something that's going to be worked out? Because this is a place where the turn on can be very quick, but if it can fizzle out very quick as well. Jupiter is really going to be going, I'm looking for a higher understanding here. I want abundance. I want excessiveness. I want a lot. Because anything Jupiter touches, it brings manifestation to. But is it building relationships that are truly supportive, higher knowledge manifesting coming in? Or is it manifesting the same old relationship that keeps fouling up over and over again? What is the lesson here? It's teaching you one way or another how to make the right relationship by understanding where relationships were not working as well. Now, near the 24th is when Mars comes home. He's going to be coming in at the end of the month. So next month, you're going to have Mars in your sign. Very aggressive in these relationships, very hot and heavy and sexual in these relationships, but at the same time, is your sexuality, your inner security, is it based off of how they make you feel, or because you already know that you feel good about it. This is what I call the inner belly dancer. You could be the biggest, fattest sumo wrestler in the whole wide world, but if you're feeling good enough to be out there shaking your booty and you feel good about you, then good for you. If somebody has a problem with that, they know how to move their eyes and look the other freaking direction. If you feel good about you, that's the best thing, because it is hard for many people to love themselves and to feel secure. And if you can feel secure, no matter how you dress, no matter what kind of relationships you've had in the past, you will be able to manifest somebody to you who's going to give you that same security. But if you're insecure, you're going to manifest somebody in that relationship who's going to show you why you're still insecure. It's a message. Now, like I said, this you're going to be seeing at the end of this month come into power and really into movement. But you're also going to start seeing it next month because, like I said, Mars will be there. Now, this goes back into Taurus, where we started, I believe. No, we started you with your eclipse. And that would be why I'm saying it. So then we move into Taurus. This is where the sun is right now. This is your 8th house. Those rules, those walls, rules, walls, boundaries, security. And is it secure, or does it need to be shifted? Of the relationships. Your relationship's 8th house is the commitment. It's the relationship's 8th house is joint resources, joint finances, joint efforts. It's the commitment. Is it a joint effort? All right, Libra. Is it harmony, balance? You guys are the scales. Is it really balanced? Or is it more like, it's saying the only way a true healthy relationship is going to rebloom, transform, continue to reincarnate over and over again and strengthen is because there's the balance. There's the proper give and take, not just all give and all take. There's the proper give and take for the transformation. So is the boundaries set properly for you to be secure with yourself when you're alone, doing your own things, as well as in the relationship. Now, the reason this is so important right now is because it's Taurus. The sun is here illuminating whether it's really, truly in balance or not. But then you also have Uranus here for the next 4 years, asking you, are you showing your individuality, your own uniqueness, your own spirit in these relationships? Or are you the Joneses? And there is no Mr. and Mrs. It's just the Joneses. So don't lose yourself in the relationship, because it's also ruled by Taurus, which is ruling the universal 2nd house, which is your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your money, your possessions. And again, if you're not in your power, somebody else will be. And you're talking about your spouse or your other people of these relationships making you submissive while they're the powerful one. Do you want to be somebody else's prize? Do you want to be somebody else's lackey? You want to be balanced in these relationships. You don't want to be submissive at this time. The North Node is trying to teach you how to do this. And this is part of what you were supposed to have been learning on that last eclipse. But if you didn't learn it, this one is going to be trying to show you it. Not to mention, you have the sun, like I said, is here, illuminating it. Uranus is here, helping you find your own creative individuality here. The North Node is trying to teach you the lesson here. But you're going to have, at the end of the month of the 28th, Venus is going to come home to her ruling sign. And if you haven't figured this out, her sensitivity and her levels of values here is going to be off the chain. Between Mars coming into his home sign in the relationships, Venus coming into her home sign in the rules of the relationship. If this hasn't been learned, it's going to throw a major wrench out there right after these eclipses, and the lesson's going to get learned. Or at least a change at this moment is going to happen, because around the 24th and the 28th, when these two go to their home sign in your relationship house, energy is going to start moving. The truths are going to start coming out. The masquerade masks are going to start coming off, and that was spirit, not me. So that's going to be them showing you it. Now, so I'm giving you also for next month for the most part. Your 9th house is Mercury in retrograde. And this is a good thing, though. Mercury is in retrograde in your 9th house. Your ethics, your morals, your spiritual truths. It is your higher education, your dreams, your psychic energy, your intuition, your truth. But it's also your religion, your philosophy. It's learning and all of that higher knowledge. Now, when you come into the realms of that psychic energy, that spiritual energy, that soulful energy, the ethics and the morals of it, you have a Mercury going, wait a minute, do I still agree with the way it's always been? Do I see things differently? And questioning that. But then it's going to jump back into the relationship house after the 22nd, right around the time all of this other starts stirring up. And Mercury tends to, when it's in retrograde, start talking to you self-centered about negative things. And it's going to be going, well, I do all of this, and I do all of that, and I do all of this, and so what do they really do? And is it fair? And da-da-da-da. So you've got to be honest with yourself. Are you overindulging in that communication? Because the Sun and Mercury are going to go like this. The Sun's going to start illuminating the soul ethics, the soul morals, the soul desires, the higher truths, the spiritual truths, while Mercury starts communicating possibly negatively only to you about what's going on in the relationships. So you're going to see a massive shift right around that time. And this is coming after the eclipse. That's why I said you've got a lot coming your way. But this is all about truly finding the sacred self and believing in it. And lastly, your 10th house, the outer world, your outer community, your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your financial success, your social surroundings, the authority of society and the outer world and how things are supposed to be. You have Lilith here. Lilith is not powerful here. Lilith is normally about ego to a point of standing in your fire and what are you here for, what do you burn for? But see, Cancer energy, which is what your 10th house is all about nurturing the outer world. It's mothering everything around you and making sure that it's comfortable, it's growing, and it's okay. But this is about you finding power, you standing in your authority. And is it still okay for you to be submissive? And the reason why I'm saying that is Lilith in Cancer is begging for your independence, because this is the one place she's highly submissive. And then when she leaves, she's going to be like, what the hell was you doing that for? Why didn't you love you? Why didn't you stand in your power? Because she's nurturing here. She's trying to teach you whether you're nurturing or neglecting by showing you where you're submissive. I love you guys. See you next month.